today's video, we are going to talk about the 5 different Kosyas that make up this human being. This video is a continuation of the series that I promised on how to bring out the best within yourself. And it is important for us to understand these 5 constituents, these 5 Kosyas, these 5 elements that we are made up of. The yogis also simplify this into 3 bodies. They call it the Bahar Anga, external body, the Madhya Anga, the middle body, and the Antar Anga, the inner body. And the Bahar Anga is made up of one constituent, one element, one Kosya. And this is called the Annamaya Kosya. Anna in Sanskrit refers to food, nutrition, grain. And when we are born, it starts with the fertilization of the egg, which we call the ovum, by the sperm from the male. And the nutrition is there in the head of the sperm and in the ovum. And when they meet, a zygote is formed. And the zygote implants itself on the womb of a woman. And like a parasite, it draws in the nutrition from that womb. The parasite formation of this zygote is so much peculiar to a normal parasite that even if it were to implant in any other part of the body where there was live tissue, it would still grow. That's how we have ectopic pregnancies, where the implantation takes place outside the womb and it still grows into a full-grown 9-month-old baby when it is ready to be born, and it comes out into the world. And when it comes out into the world, it initially feeds from the woman's breasts, but eventually it starts looking for nutrition outside. All our food comes from the sun. The sunlight is absorbed by the autotrophs, the plants, and they convert sunlight into food, into starch and other forms of nutrition. The herbivores, they eat these plants, and the carnivores, like humans, they eat the herbivores and the plants and everything that comes along with it. In fact, it has been said that planet Earth is a prison planet. Before we are born, our memory has been wiped off. I don't remember where I came from. There are lots of religious books trying to tell us with no real validity about where we have come from. The knowledge of where we have come from is ingrained within us from the time we were young. We have been brainwashed into believing stuff which has no scientific evidence whatsoever. It is very ironic that holy books, they all contradict each other, and yet everybody swears by the one that they follow. But that's a topic for another video. Right now, let's try to understand these 5 elements, these 5 Kosyas. So the Annamaya Kosya is part of the Bahar Anga, the external body. And this is the only body that we leave behind on this planet when we die, when we leave this planet. It is a vehicle that is essential for us to exist in this dimension of space and time. Without this physical body, we will not be able to survive on this planet. Now, when this external body or the Madhya Anga comes and rests within this physical body, that's when the next layer or the next Kosya is created, and it's called Pranamaya Kosya. Prana is life force. Prana is not to be misunderstood as the breath. The breath is a part of the Pranamaya Kosya. But even as we breathe in and out, there is an interdimensional communication taking place. And it is from this other dimension that you are bringing in and drawing in from this life force that is given to the mind body, the Manomaya Kosya, which is the third body that we come across. And the Manomaya Kosya is connected to the innermost body, the Antaranga, with the help of the Vijnanamaya Kosya. So when we die, the Pranamaya Kosya is left behind. The breath goes out of the body. And we are left with the body of mind, which contains the intelligence, Vijnanamaya Kosya, which also contains the Antaranga, the inner body. And the inner body is made up of one Kosya. It is called the Anandamaya Kosya, the bliss. Ananda refers to bliss. It's the element of bliss. So if you were paying careful attention, I just explained the elements which make up the middle body. They are the Pranamaya Kosya, the Manomaya Kosya, and Vijnanamaya Kosya, which is the life force prana, breath body, the mind body, or the Kosya of the mind, and the Kosya of the intelligence. These three form the bridges which we need to travel if we are going to go from the physical to the spiritual. And all true spiritual disciplines will consist of either one or a combination of these three bridges. So when the yogi is focusing completely on the breath and doing pranayama, he is using this bridge. But this bridge doesn't take you very far. It is not enough to take you to the innermost body. But the body of mind is even closer. And when the Buddhist does vipassana and observes sensations in his body, that is exactly what he is doing. He is getting into the mind body, the mind Kosya, the element of mind. Now, in the same way that we are connected with our Atma, the innermost body has got the Atma, the soul. So, the Anandamaya Kosya, or the body of bliss, which is the innermost body, contains the soul. And in the same way that the soul is connected to the oversoul, or the Atma is connected to the Paramatma, in the same way the Manomaya Sharira, the mind, is connected to the higher mind. And it is from this mind, when we come into the body of the mind, the first thing we learn to do is we learn to channel. We start drawing information from this higher mind. We become channels, we become superior beings, we become supernatural beings. And yet, that does not say that we are liberated. Because liberation will come to us when we have gotten rid of the Manomaya Kosya and released the Atma, the soul, so that the Atma goes back to Brahma, so that the liberated being, the seed, goes back to divinity, to God the Father. And all enlightened masters have told us the same thing. But in order to understand them, we need to go beyond religion. We got to go beyond our self-centered belief systems and break these belief systems, which are there for us in many ways to guide us. But eventually we got to go beyond them. It is only when we go beyond them that we realize that all religions are the same, but telling you something in a different way. And the worst thing that can happen to us is when we get stuck in religious systems which are being guided to us by people who have never really made it there. A truly liberated master is very patient and calm. He doesn't care. He cares in a way, but he doesn't want to force himself on you. If you want to get there, you have to keep asking the questions, you have to keep demanding answers, and you have to walk the path. Nobody will walk the path for you. That's the biggest lie. Religion tries to tell you sometimes that all your work has been done for you, you just do what we tell you and you'll be free. That is the biggest lie. Everybody has to work for his salvation. Salvation is not free. If salvation was free, you wouldn't need to take birth in this human form. You wouldn't need to go to the experiences that you're going today. But people prefer to listen to these people because it's the easy way out. It's just that it leads to nowhere. You have to work for your salvation. You have to work towards understanding these 5 spiritual coverings, these 5 sheets, these 5 intelligences, and you have to start penetrating them. And we know who's a liberated master, because a liberated master will leave behind his body of mind and intelligence. Christ was a liberated master. He left behind his body, which is called the Holy Spirit. There are also other masters who were liberated. Though everybody tries to say that their master is the only one that was liberated, everybody else is going to hell, and that's not true. We have Nityananda. How do we know that he was liberated? Because when he died, or when he attained Mahasamadhi, Muktananda became powerful. He started using the body of his liberated master. He created a lineage. When Ramakrishna died, Vivekananda became powerful. As soon as a master dies, if he is liberated, he gives that spiritual body and makes it accessible to his near and dear ones. When Christ died, Saint Peter raised people from the dead. And this is with all masters who were liberated. We know that the Buddha was liberated because when he died, many people were able to get liberated just by following the technique of Vipassana that he had given to his people. The path of sensation awareness, the bridge, that true sensation awareness, you could traverse to the innermost core of your being and attain liberation and become free and go back to the Father, or go back to God the Creator, or go back to becoming a Buddha or to Brahma. So this is the science. But if you do not know yourself, and if you are going to get caught up in belief systems that you have been indoctrinated into from the time you were young, and trust me, most religions like to do that. Before the age of 7, they already prepare you with the brainwashing. And if you are stuck with that, it's going to be next to impossible for you to walk the spiritual path. Because you become a know-it-all. You start repeating little quotes that they have given you with nonsensical quotes which you don't even understand, but you're 100% certain that they are right. And that is how we come onto this planet, and we are enslaved and we are indoctrinated by religion. Religion was meant to help us attain spiritual growth, evolution and liberation. Religion, all religions eventually become self-fulfilling prophecies, and they become masters at keeping the aspirant, the seeker, away from the truth. And somebody's got to say that. Somebody's got to tell the truth out there. Because a lot of the things that religion is showing us today is not true. If you have hurt your neighbor, you got to have reparations. You don't go and say a few prayers and take an absolution and get done with it. That will never help. You have to undo the harm that you have done. And if you're not able to undo it, You have to try and repair the harm by doing some good to somebody else. That was the true spiritual talk that Christ gave us. But religion says, don't worry, you just do this, and God will forgive you. And this is in all religions, all religions. If you really want to find God, you and only you can do it on your own. I learned these things from the Gnostics. I learned these things from the Rosicrucians, that eventually true spirituality starts with you, ends with you. They all have lessons to teach you. We all have lessons to learn. But use discrimination, Viveka Gyan. That's what Vivekananda was famous for. Discrimination. Use your discrimination. Don't just follow everybody. Don't use the broad gate. The gate to liberation is very narrow. Don't fool yourself. Understand these 5 elements that you're made up of. Otherwise you'll keep coming back again and again and again into a new life form every time, and you'll be caught in what the Hindus say, this wheel of samsara, continuously spinning around life, death, new life, death, new life, death. Even in the time of Christ, they believed in rebirth. In fact, Christ himself said, many of you will have not tasted death till I come back. It's in the Bible, I didn't make that up. Learn to discriminate. Learn to understand. Learn to meditate by using your breath so that you can understand your mind. And when you have attained the level of silence, in that silence God speaks. He is not found in holy books. Millions and millions, in fact billions of people have read holy books. How many liberated beings do we have today? Not people who just say they were liberated, but can you point out? Some of these truths are known by the Catholic Church. In fact, when a saint dies, they don't just make them, canonize them as saints. They first make sure that they have not come back. And they wait for a miracle to happen through this person who has already died and gone back to the Father. And when they can prove 1 or 2 or 3, I'm not really sure how many miracles that have happened through this person, only then the saint is canonized. And that is why until recently it could have taken 200 or 300 years for a saint to be declared a saint, because they wanted to make sure that this person was liberated and that you're not praying for somebody who's already come back in a new life form. So the science still exists. Just because they have not told you all these details doesn't mean it is not true. If you're really seeking God, you have to do it on your own. And if you really want to do that, you have to understand the 5 sheets, the 5 layers of your being, going down to the soul. External body, Annamaya Kosya. Innermost body, Anandamaya Kosya. External body, the sheet of nutrition. Inner body, the sheet of bliss. The middle body is made up of 3 sheets that work as bridges connecting one to the other. That is the breath, the mind, and the intelligence. Start today. Start in earnest. Reading all the books is not going to help. Action is the magic word. If you read all the books in the world on how to make money, you're not going to make money. You're going to have to start your own business and start working on it. In the same way, all the books on the religion are not going to help you. All the books on the saints are not going to help you. You have to start working. You have to start walking the path, and you have to start working for your salvation. I'll be coming up with a few more videos in the future, explaining a few other things. But I want you to stay back and listen to what I've told you. Listen again and again and again. Rewind this video. And maybe A lot of things that I've said which have bypassed your mind will come up when you listen to the second and the third and the fourth time. Understand these 5 sheets. Understand what you have before you on the spiritual path. And like all videos on YouTube today, I have to end by saying, don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and put a comment. I love comments. Keep them sane, keep them clean. Let them be challenging, that's not a problem. But I do have a problem with people who try to try to bring about their own indoctrinated belief systems and enforce them on others. I try to look at things in a very scientific way, and nobody's perfect. We're all in the process of learning. We came on this planet to learn lessons. But there is a fine line between being sensible and irrational. And I welcome all your comments, but keep them sensible. Thank you again, and don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment and share. Thank you for taking time to listen to me. It means a lot for me to have you spend some of the time, the precious time that you have had in this life, to keep it aside and listen to me. It does mean a lot to me, and for that I'm honored. Take care and God bless. Bye now. Namaste.